This psalm makes envy fall to the ground and opens paths that no one can close the power of divine words. Have you ever felt like someone's jealousy was blocking your blessings? Have you experienced doors closing in your life for no clear reason? Throughout history, people of faith have turned to ancient prayers and psalms to break through spiritual barriers and open paths that seemed impossible to cross. There is one particular psalm that has been known for centuries as a powerful weapon against envy, jealousy, and closed doors. This sacred text carries within it the authority of God Himself, and when spoken with faith, it can transform your circumstances in ways you never imagined possible. Today, we're going to explore this powerful psalm together. You'll discover why it works, how to use it effectively, and what makes it so special in breaking the chains of envy and opening doors that no human hand can shut. Understanding the enemy. What is envy? Before we dive into the psalm itself, we need to understand what we're fighting against. Envy is more than just jealousy or wanting what someone else has. It's a spiritual force that can create real obstacles in your life. Envy occurs when someone looks at your blessings, your success, your happiness, or your potential and wishes it wasn't there. It's different from admiration or healthy ambition. Envy carries a destructive energy that seeks to diminish, block, or destroy what you have or what's coming to you. The Bible tells us that envy is dangerous. Proverbs 14:30 says that envy rots the bones. It's not just harmful to the person feeling it, it can also send negative spiritual energy toward the person being envied. This is why you might feel blocked, stuck, or like your blessings are being delayed even when you're doing everything right. Many people don't realize they're under attack from envy. They just know that doors keep closing, opportunities keep slipping away, and their progress feels mysteriously hindered. If this sounds familiar, you're in the right place. The psalm that changes everything. The psalm we're talking about is Psalm 91. This ancient prayer has been called the soldier's psalm, the psalm of protection, and the psalm of divine authority. It's one of the most powerful passages in the entire Bible, and it specifically addresses protection from evil, spiritual attacks, and the opening of divine paths. Let's look at why Psalm 91 is so effective against envy and closed doors. Divine protection from all evil. Psalm 91 begins with a promise. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This isn't just poetic language. It's a declaration of supernatural protection. When you position yourself under God's authority through this psalm, you create a spiritual shield that envy cannot penetrate. Envy works in the shadows. But Psalm 91 brings you into the light of God's presence, where darkness cannot reach you. The person speaking this psalm is declaring that they live in a protected space where enemy attacks, including the spiritual attack of envy, cannot succeed. Authority over spiritual attacks. The middle sections of Psalm 91 are filled with promises of protection from specific threats. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. These aren't just physical dangers. They represent spiritual attacks that come at all hours, in all forms. Envy is one of these arrows that flies by day. It's an attack that comes from people you might even see and interact with regularly. This psalm gives you authority to declare that these attacks will not reach you. Angels assigned to your path. One of the most powerful verses in Psalm 91 says, "For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways." This means that when you pray this psalm with faith, you're not just protected by a concept or an idea. You're protected by actual angelic beings assigned specifically to guard your path. When doors are supernaturally closed by envy or spiritual opposition, angels have the authority to open them. When jealousy tries to block your way, these divine messengers clear the path. This is why Psalm 91 doesn't just protect you from harm, it actively opens ways forward that no human power can close. The promise of elevation, the end of Psalm 91 contains God's direct promise. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. This is the key to understanding why this psalm opens closed doors. When you align yourself with God's authority through this prayer, he personally guarantees your elevation. No amount of human envy can stop what God has decided to elevate. No jealousy can close doors that God has opened. This is divine authority overriding human opposition. How to use Psalm 91. Effectively knowing about this psalm is one thing, but using it effectively is another. Here's how to make Psalm 91 work powerfully in your life. Pray it with understanding. Don't just recite the words mechanically. As you speak each verse, understand what you're declaring. You're not hoping for protection. You're announcing that you already have it because you dwell in God's presence. You're not begging for doors to open. You're declaring that God has already given his angels charge over you to keep your ways clear. Speak it daily. Consistency is key in spiritual warfare. Make Psalm 91 part of your daily prayer routine. Speak it in the morning to set spiritual protection over your day. Speak it at night to cover yourself as you sleep. The more you declare these truths, the stronger your spiritual position becomes. Pray it over. Specific situations. When you know you're facing a closed door or suspect you're under attack from envy, pray Psalm 91. Specifically over that situation. Mention the door that needs to open, the opportunity that seems blocked, or the person you suspect is directing jealousy toward you. Ask God to activate the promises of this psalm in that specific area of your life. Combine it with faith. Action Psalm 91 is powerful, but it works best when combined with faith action. If you're praying for a door to open in your career, also update your resume and apply for positions. If you're praying for relationship, blessings, also work on being the person who attracts healthy relationships. God opens doors, but you have to be ready to walk through them. Signs that envy is falling and doors are opening. When you begin praying Psalm 91 consistently, you'll start to notice changes. Here are signs that the psalm is working in your life. Sudden breakthroughs. Opportunities that were stuck suddenly start moving forward. A job you applied for months ago calls you back. A relationship that was stagnant suddenly improves. Financial blessings start flowing where there was drought. These sudden shifts are signs that spiritual blockages are breaking. Peace in your spirit. One of the first things you'll notice is a deep peace, even when your circumstances haven't fully changed yet. This peace is evidence that the spiritual attack of envy has been neutralized. You'll feel lighter, more hopeful, and more confident about your future. Protection from harm. You might notice that you're protected. From accidents, conflicts, or problems that seem to be heading your way, this is the promise of Psalm 91 manifesting. God's angels are keeping you in all your ways. Favor with people. When envy falls, favor rises. You'll notice people being unusually helpful, generous, or kind to you. Doors open through human connections because the spiritual interference that was blocking those relationships has been removed. Real stories of transformation. Throughout history, countless people have experienced the power of Psalm 91. Let me share some examples of how this psalm has worked in real lives. The blocked promotion. A woman had been working at her company for 8 years, consistently performing well, but never getting promoted. She discovered that a coworker had been speaking negatively about her to management out of jealousy. She began praying Psalm 91 daily, specifically asking God to break the power of envy and open the door to promotion. Within 3 months, a new manager joined the company who saw her true value, and she was promoted to a position even higher than the one she had originally hoped for. The closed business doors. A small business owner kept experiencing mysterious setbacks. Clients would commit to contracts and then suddenly back out. Suppliers would raise prices unexpectedly. Nothing seemed to flow. A spiritual mentor suggested someone might be envying his success and praying against him. He started covering his business with Psalm 91 every morning before opening. Within weeks, things began to turn around. New clients came from unexpected sources, and his business doubled in 6 months. The relationship restoration. A couple was experiencing constant conflict and misunderstanding. They loved each other but couldn't seem to make things work. They learned that family members who were jealous of their relationship had been speaking negatively about them to each other. They began praying Psalm 91 together, asking God to protect their relationship from outside interference. The confusion lifted, communication improved, and they're now stronger than ever. The spiritual science behind why this works. You might be wondering why this specific psalm is so effective. There are spiritual principles at work here. The principle of declaration. In the Bible, God created the world through words. Let there be light. When you speak Psalm 91, you're operating on this same principle, speaking spiritual realities into existence. You're not just talking about protection. You're creating a protective atmosphere through your declarations. The principle of agreement. When you pray Psalm 91, you're agreeing with what God has already said about you. You're not trying to convince God to protect you. You're aligning yourself with the protection He's already provided. This agreement releases divine power into your circumstances. The principle of authority. Jesus said in Luke 10:19, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy. When you pray as a believer, you're not praying as a beggar, but as someone with delegated authority. Psalm 91 activates this authority specifically over spiritual attacks like envy. The principle of angelic activation. The Bible teaches that angels respond to God's word. Psalm 103:20 says angels do His word, heeding the voice of His word. When you speak Psalm 91, which contains God's promises of angelic protection, you're actually activating angelic assistance in your life. These angels then go to work opening doors and removing obstacles. Common mistakes to avoid. While Psalm 91 is powerful, there are mistakes that can limit its effectiveness. Praying without faith. If you speak the words while thinking, this probably won't work, you've already undermined your prayer. Faith is essential. You must believe that what you're declaring is true and will manifest in your life. Continuing in sin, you can't live in rebellion against God and expect His protection. Psalm 91 works for those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High. This means living in relationship with God, not just quoting scripture when you're in trouble. Giving up too soon. Sometimes the breakthrough doesn't come immediately. Spiritual battles can take time. Don't pray for a week and quit. Keep declaring Psalm 91 until you see the manifestation. Persistence in prayer is powerful. Focusing on the enemy. The power of Psalm 91 isn't in fighting your enemies. It's in focusing on God's protection and provision. Don't spend all your prayer time thinking about who's envying you. Focus on God's promises for you. Conclusion. Your path is being cleared. As you begin to incorporate Psalm 91 into your daily life, remember this truth. God is bigger than any envy directed toward you. He's more powerful than any closed door. He has already assigned angels to your path, and He has already promised to set you on high. The envy that has been blocking your progress is falling to the ground right now as you read these words and commit to this prayer. The doors that seemed permanently closed are beginning to crack open. Divine opportunities are being prepared for you that no human jealousy can prevent. Your responsibility is simple. Declare these truths daily, live in faith, and watch for the doors God opens. When they appear, walk through them with confidence, knowing that what God has opened, no one can shut. This psalm isn't magic. It's the activation of spiritual authority that belongs to you as a child of God. Use it wisely, use it faithfully, and watch your life transform as envy falls and paths open before you. The journey ahead is yours. The protection is yours. The open doors are yours. Step forward in faith, covered by Psalm 91, and watch what God will do.